does help with players. There's no doubt.
As we saw there, a fair few in from Manchester as well. And they've got a real dilemma, Peter, as we were saying, haven't they?
Yeah.
The team win, United.
I think that the big thing is, as you said, the supporters really. I think that they can be a big bonus to them if they get behind the side and start shouting and screaming and one thing and another. I think that the difference is that Manchester City will go out in a relaxed atmosphere, whereas probably the pressure's on Villa. But I've got a bit of a buzz. I'm looking forward to the game. I've just said to Sean that I would have rather been wearing that number 4 shirt. He just said he'd rather wear it anyway.
You've got a bit of a buzz. I've got a bit of a buzz. Here we go. Super Sunday. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Well, it is a paradoxical day in the Premier League, with Manchester United fans supporting Manchester City, City's fans, in principle at least, favouring the Aston Villa cause. As for the Villa followers, they want the first of 4 consecutive victories, which could still stop any note of triumph coming out of Old Trafford. For Ron Atkinson, a dilemma as to how best to replace the dependable Sean Teal, a decision that was partly influenced by the composition of the Manchester City side. Villa believe that David White will play through the middle, so Earl Barrett is switched to centre-back, where he did win his only England cap so far. Garry Parker was left out at Highbury, but he's back today in a midfield quartet, which again includes Tony Daley.
Yeah, that was the only big question for me, is who would replace Sean Teal. And I thought all along it might be Earl Barrett, and I think that makes a sensible choice. It keeps Staunton on that left-hand side, and that's a really potent area with Tony Daley ahead of him. But it's a number 8, I feel, restored to the side, Garry Parker, whose passing could be influential today.
Well, those who know Peter Reid will believe him when he says he doesn't care who wins the championship this season. He wants the win today, which would lift Manchester City back to 5th in the table. But Mike Sheeran joins the list of City injured, which already includes Steve McMahon, Ian Brightwell and Andy Hill, and not forgetting Paul Lake as well. Niall Quinn went to hospital after Monday's match against Liverpool and only came out yesterday, his back damaged by wear and tear. But he's very keen to be part of a day when City have to be seen to be giving of their very best.
Well, there was a lot of talk about injuries this week, but that looks a pretty strong Manchester City line-up. Rick Holt has been switched today from left to right. The midfield 3 will tuck in narrow, but watch for the number 3, Terry Phelan, bombing up that left-hand side. Now, there's 4 players that really this game depends on. The 2 Villa strikers, Saunders and Atkinson, not scoring goals, but vitally important that they impress themselves on Vonk and Keith Curl.
For referee Philip Dunn, it's the end of his Easter holidays today, back to his headmasterly duties in the West London area first thing tomorrow morning. The conditions here, the sort that any player would love to be involved in. A little bit of wind perhaps to slightly distract the length of the passing, but underfoot it's smooth and sure. Will Aston Villa be the same? Peter Reid to set the game in motion alongside David White. White, who scored 6 goals in his last 4 games against Aston Villa, including 4 here. And they intend, obviously, to try and make it a busy afternoon for Mark Bosnich. 4 here for David White in 1 game. That was a couple of years ago. But Bosnich has been very hard to beat. Well won by Vonk. Here's Neil Cox at right back. Villa stepping up and winning the offside decision.
That'll be something to look for. Villa have got to be very careful. 2 centre-backs have got to get it exactly right. The full-backs have got to be aware, because there's someone with a pace of White now playing through the middle. stepping up like that could be a risky business.
Oh, tight on Saunders, perhaps too tight. It broke City's way. Quinn. Here's Houghton. Atkinson, Daley's come in from the left. Perhaps in danger of crowding it out. Very congested when Reid stepped in. And eventually, here is Rick Holden, left-footed of course, but starting this game, as we showed you on our caption, on the right-hand side. Manchester City is so concerned about their injuries that had Niall Quinn not been fit today, Keith Curle would have played up front. And David Brightwell would have come in and operated in the centre of defence alongside Michel Vonk. But Quinn is out there.
He's out there and he's such an important part of the way Manchester City play the game as well.
Here's Gary Flitcroft, who's been one of the finds of the season. In his preferred place in the middle of midfield today. We saw him on Good Friday perform heroically as a centre-back at Sheffield United. They do make it difficult for central defenders with the way they play. Aston Villa would love an early goal here. They feel they should have had one in their last home game against Coventry. Inside the opening 30 seconds, Dalian Atkinson put a chance wide.
I think when you're in a situation that Villa and Manchester United are in as well, Mark, if you get an early goal at home, as we saw against Sheffield Wednesday here at Villa Park recently, scored in the first couple of minutes and went on to produce a real stunning display here. Didn't get the early goal against Coventry, and they looked very, very edgy from them.
David White limped out of a challenge a moment or two ago on the far side. He has been struggling with an ankle problem. He wasn't too keen to go in against Steve Staunton then. Staunton goes on. Atkinson can't control it, came crisply at him. Quinn, who read the direction of Coton's clearance. Phelan just intercepting, otherwise Garry Parker would have got in behind him and was onside as well. Flitcroft, it's gone astray. One or two passes from both sides, not really finding their targets, but that's better from Houghton towards Parker, and across came Curle. White's been looking towards the bench and then seemed to give them the thumbs up then, but he's okay to go on. He hasn't missed many games.
No, he looked to get that knock and that sort of block tackle, but he seems to have shaken it off.
Here's Fitzroy Simpson, who's been out of favour recently. Coton connecting well. White not really looking at the ball. Barrett certainly was focused. Richardson. Here's Daley. They've been starved of too many recent sightings of Tony Daley here. Very much one of their own at Aston Villa, born and bred close to the ground. Whether Saunders will get the sort of crosses that he's been missing perhaps with the absence of Steve Froggatt over the last couple of months from Tony Daley is one issue this afternoon, Andy.
Yeah, I think the one thing though, Froggatt is certainly a better crosser of the ball than Tony Daley, possibly not as quick and not so much of a goal threat himself, Stephen Froggatt, but he has got good quality on the cross. And I don't think it's any coincidence that both these barren runs this season have coincided. That's Dean Saunders' barren runs have coincided with the absence of Froggatt.
Dean Saunders hoping for a change of luck, but Manchester City haven't been the best of opponents for him. A couple of years ago when he was with Derby, he missed a penalty and Niall Quinn it was who saved it. Quinn had to go in goal when Tony Coton was sent off. And that was a bad day for Derby all round. They were relegated at the end of it. Quinn was a hero for City. Saunders will certainly not have forgotten that day. And of course last season, playing for Liverpool, he missed the penalty at Main Road as well. but they do feel here at Villa, the management that is, that if Dalian Atkinson had played more games since the turn of the year, maybe they would be in a more comfortable position vis-à-vis Manchester United than they are at the moment. It's all speculation. Injuries very much part and parcel of this Premier League season. So much power in the Premier League game, but the title is going to be won by one of two culture clubs. It's a level that Peter Reid is trying to attain for his Manchester City. Simpson tight on Houghton. He is naturally left-sided, Fitzroy Simpson, but I'm sure he will tend to tuck into the centre when required. In case with Villa having so much variety in that area, City might get overrun. Good work by Atkinson coming from midfield. Here's Parker. Offside.
That's going to be a feature today, I feel, the offside. Can the two frontmen get their timing of their run exactly right? They've both got the pace that if they get free, then no one will catch them. Manchester City, as you can see here, they like to push up. There they go. But Daley and Atkinson, and it's very close. With Ray Houghton on the far side there, holding. But that's what they were looking for, just to catch them and time their runs properly.
Header from Ray Houghton. Of former Birmingham City players in the Manchester City side, Tony Coton the other, remembered I'm sure by Villa fans, and make it a bit awkward for them, extra awkward. Flitcroft, here's Holden. What do you make of Rick Holden playing on the right hand side, Andy?
I would be happy if I was Ron Atkinson with that decision. Ray's an excellent crosser of the ball, natural crosser of the ball, and only needs half a yard on the left when he plays. I'm not so sure he'll get that on the right.
More than half a yard for Atkinson here with the overdrive, but when it comes to speed, Terry Phelan is certainly worth a mention.
Well, I would like to have seen him go and commit Keith Curl a little bit more in that situation. They had a 2 against 2 developing, and Dalian Atkinson normally will drive on himself and commit the defender, but he opted for the pass.
Keith Curl, one of the game's great sprinters as well. But with the way Phelan and Curl like to play pushing out, it's not a case perhaps of City sitting back as Coventry did here in the last home game. And I know, Andy, you feel that might just suit Messrs Saunders and Atkinson. There might be room in behind City to make some runs and play to their best strengths. We'll see. Daley. This particular marathon started on August the 15th, and it might go all the way to May the 9th before we know the final finishing order. Holden needs some help. A bit late arriving. There's a little think forward by Bonk, but found Quinn onside. Here's White. Simpson, Phelan's the extra man. There's a shot on here for the left back, but it's not a very good one.
But that's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the game, with no natural width here. But Ray Houghton, you see the number 7's been taken away over there, but it's Fitzroy Simpson who creates the space, leaves acres for Phelan to come into, but it's his first touch that let him down badly.
Plenty of Republic of Ireland internationals in the match. No surprise to see Maurice Setters here. Jack Charlton's number 2 today. Barrett in the England squad. Perhaps now more and more for his versatility. Centre back today, midfield player at Arsenal on Monday, the regular right back for Aston Villa. Dead. Bit of hesitation by City, and none by the linesman. Ball out of play.
I think the way City are playing, or they've lined up, certainly I think they'll really be regretting the fact that Sean Teal's not playing it, because of this near side. There's acres and acres, and the way that Terry Phelan can come into it, then it's there for Neil Cox if he wants to. Now I'm sure if Earl Barrett was at right back today, he would be marauding into there as well. I'm not so sure that Neil Cox has got the confidence at the moment to be charging forward, but certainly from Villa's point of view, that's an area they should be looking to get the ball into.
Philip Don, as you might have seen, sorting out a little altercation between White and Barrett. Richardson's through pass for Saunders. Dean Saunders can't end this difficult run for him, and Tony Coton was a most capable goalkeeper there for Manchester City.
There's the space. You see, they get it right, and he does everything right in this position, and he's only thwarted by a magnificent save from Coton.
3 up for City. Well, it's not particularly well known that Tony Coton's first senior club was Aston Villa. He was a non-contract player for a few months, but in his own words, they bombed him out because he was a Blues fan. That's Birmingham City, of course, and he went to sign for Birmingham, where he made his league debut. He says Andy Gray will remember him from those days in the mid-70s, but I don't think you do, Andy.
I don't remember many young keepers that used to smash them past in those days, Mark, at training. But that was a fine save, it really was. I mean, there's a lot of people who will be looking at it and say that's a real chance. It was, but Dean Saunders couldn't have done an awful lot better than that. It was low, it was very close to the goalkeeper's feet, but the quickness and the agility of the goalkeeper there was first class.
Here's Reid. He'll be pleased with the way his team have started in terms of their commitment. He'll hope for a bit of better passing from himself and his colleagues. Houghton, Vonk, White trying to get into top gear here. Earl Barrett, of course, who had a spell with City, shrugged aside by a former teammate. Trying to set up Quinn. It's needed a more decisive ball from White, really. Quinn going in where he's at his best with a header down towards Holden. McGrath on the spot. Here's Curl. Villa trying to push out this time. And it was Simpson who'd made an intelligent run, trying to get in behind Earl Barrett, but Dean Saunders will possibly still be reflecting about this.
But look at the quality of his run. There was that excellent. The keeper stands up, he thinks he's slotted it. Great play from the goalkeeper. But it won't help the number 9's confidence, that's for sure.
Well, Dean Saunders did go 12 league games without a goal last season for Liverpool. And he talks about the hot streaks that he has. Cold for him at the moment. But one little break in front of goal, and he might just hit a run that could yet take Aston Villa to the Premier League title. He's done so much. Let's not forget that for Villa since coming here early in the season from Liverpool. Atkinson. Here's Parker. McGrath. Cox. Saunders has always worked willingly across the width of the pitch to get involved in the game, not just waiting around the penalty area for others to make chances for him. And it's a corner to Aston Villa with just over 15 minutes gone, 0-0 here. One way or another, the whole of Manchester holding its breath. Staunton to take. And Steve Staunton, who's scored twice for the Republic of Ireland straight from corners, And so close there to bending one in by that near post, at that near post.
Well, they almost scored against Coventry from the exact same side, exact same area when it was headed off the line. And he's got such good quality, Steve Staunton. He's capable of bending them into that area. And look how close that comes to embarrassing Manchester City.
Those two goals for the Republic of Ireland, one recently against Northern Ireland, of course, in Dublin, has provoked Steve Staunton to say he's going to get one for Villa before the end of the season. This was very nearly it. And he takes the post.
Off the post, yeah. I just wondered, Tony Daley there, who'd actually been standing exactly there about seconds before the corner was taken, had he opted to stay there.
Atkinson, Richardson, Parker nowhere. He started to make the run, but I think Garry Parker's a little short on confidence at the moment, and maybe on full fitness as well. Here's White, 4 up for City. Quinn, Rick Holden, can he reach it? Not before Bosnich.
That was a lovely move from Manchester City. Good movement, a good ball in. And this is a lovely little cushion header. But Bosnich is very aware. Not only the first time, but quick enough to get up and collect it again. But that's a real warning to Aston Villa.
He's conceded only 2 goals in the last 8 games. It's neat work by Houghton. The pass just veered away from Vonk for Parker to collect and to send Atkinson facing the goal, which gets...
That is his strength. One of his major strengths in the game is his power and running ability at players.
Well, are we going to see Staunton again here? Having hit the post direct from the corner. Is he going to take charge at the free kick? They change the angle for him. It's round the wall, but low. And Coton getting most things behind him.
Yes, he did. He hits it well enough, but as you can see here from the angle, not well enough to trouble Tony Coton, who, like most goalkeepers, will really be feeling very good after that early save from Dean Saunders.
Well, the crowd anxious, the type of atmosphere that has been experienced recently at Old Trafford when Manchester United was struggling at home to Sheffield Wednesday a week ago yesterday, and worried by Chelsea's bright start to the game in their most recent match. Needs something just to get the supporters believing again here for Villa at the moment. Simpson. Houghton might have seen a stud or two coming towards him then and wasn't best pleased.
I think he might have seen 12.
Reed, he certainly went for the ball. Launched early by White. It is a pretty brave effort by Niall Quinn to play here. Being flat on his back in a hospital bed. From Monday night to yesterday's flags up. But the diagnosis about Niall Quinn's back, as I was saying earlier, is basically the problem of wear and tear, the attention that he gets from defenders trying to rein him in. Keith Curle, who would have been up alongside David White if Quinn hadn't made it. In his usual position at the back, takes the free kick. Saunders beating Curle. Atkinson trying to get in front of Vonk and squeeze it wide to Daley, unsuccessful. But White will take this one. Blocked by Barrett. In from Holden. White was up in any case. Just gone halfway in the first half. A match that Aston Villa have to win, they believe.
I think everyone believes that, Martin, unless They don't win today unless Manchester United completely collapse in the final 3 games. We really would have an awful lot to do.
Ron Atkinson was quoting a newspaper article that he'd read involving an astrologer who predicted that Alec Ferguson would miss out, although he'd win 4 games in a row, which is perhaps the Aston Villa manager grasping a little at straws, but certainly in his mind as we were talking before the game. Flitcroft, Reed, awkward bounce for Simpson, who couldn't keep the ball in.
I just wonder, after what, almost 25 minutes, Tony Daley, who's got great pace and has been pretty much stabbed with the ball in that congested area on the other side, and I just wonder with this big gap here on this near side of the pitch whether Ron Atkinson is thinking and maybe giving him a little run on this side. He's certainly capable of playing either wing.
But Ron Atkinson knows better than most that the only predictable thing about Tony Daley is his unpredictability. It's a fact, of course, that Graham Taylor was attracted to last season. Daley part of England's squad in the European Championships, not involved this season because of his early injury. Just had a sprinkling of matches in August before he needed serious knee surgery. Certainly sprang a surprise at Highbury at a crucial stage on Monday. And I think perhaps a lot of neutrals might have written Aston Villa off in that game. On the whole then, a real study in concentration and concern here from the Aston Villa faithful.
Been a testing start for Aston Villa. Manchester City have arrived here and they're really putting them under pressure, not allowing them to get into this free-flowing passing game that Ron Atkinson has seen his team play most of the season. And now it's a test of courage at a stage like this for Aston Villa, for the players to stand up really at times to be counted. The courage to still play, to keep trying to play under all this pressure.
And to try and do the difficult thing, not worry if it breaks down from time to time, particularly in this area of the pitch. Staunton. It's a straightforward cross, really easy for Curl. Houghton collecting on the way out. So a bit of over-elaboration by Barrett. And White perhaps expecting now Quinn to have the speed that White has himself. Ransom. Here's Richardson. Reed and Richardson, of course, were colleagues at Everton and won championship together there.
But 2 examples there, if anyone thought Manchester City weren't going to compete today. First one is Richardson picked up the ball, Peter Reid was clattering into him, and then Dean Saunders and Michael Volk straight in at the back of him.
McGrath. And Saunders almost sneaking in behind Curl. He just had to reach the ball from the Manchester City viewpoint, and on the stretch he did, to frustrate Saunders. Villa's throw. Houghton. Curl just came in front of Saunders. City trying to use White as the way out. It's another competitive challenge. David White, who was around at Main Road when Earl Barrett came on the YTS scheme to Manchester City.
But that's another reason, I think, why Earl Barrett was chosen at centre-back. All week in Birmingham been taught that it would be Steve Staunton would be centre-back. But I think Ron Atkinson's probably guessed Peter Reid's side, and that influenced the choice of Earl Barrett as centre-back with his pace.
Cox can't find the cross. Here's Quinn. There's room behind Villa here, but not if you run offside, as Phelan has done. Well, the lack of decisive play from Aston Villa as we move to the half-hour mark has brought Ron Atkinson down to within shouting range of his players. Jim Barron, Jim Walker, Jim Paul alongside him, adding further volume. Quinn. Pushed right up to the halfway line, it's worked.
I'll tell you what, that's dangerous. Fitzroy Simpson had absolutely no need to make an early run. You look at it here, look at all this Cox, he's the furthest man across. If Fitzroy Simpson just holds a couple of yards, he's got half a pitch to run into.
He could have actually held in his own half when he was absolutely safe then. Easy sitting up here. The back pass is feeding Coton on his stronger foot. Right. McGrath. With the ball as it bounced up. Parker trying to reclaim it for Villa. And Phelan can only run it out for the corner. The moment the referee pointed, Steve Staunton set across from left back to take this corner on the Villa right. Daley and Atkinson waiting by the near post. Saunders for any sort of flick on, or for the deeper ball, which McGrath.
Well, this time he opts for a bit more distance to the back post, looking for McGrath coming in there, but there's just a little bit too much bend on it.
The set pieces bringing a little more threat than free play at the moment, but they did manufacture the chance that Dean Saunders couldn't take early in the piece. There's no need for panic from Aston Villa at this stage. Patience may well be a virtue for them. Now, Parker trying to get into proceedings, really. This time it's a combination of White and Flitcroft who caught the eye of the linesman. Parker. Read it, dealt with it. But that's when Garry Parker can be a major player in the proceedings. Just a little touched-off pass.
Yes, yes, yes! Corner!
It's deflected, and that's a corner.
And that's why I think he was brought back into the side today at home. Ron actually would have known that Manchester City as a back four like to push forward. And he would have thought, well, there's one player that will find that little pass, that little gap for his front two. It could well be Garry Parker.
Right by the flag that says good luck Villa from the city of Manchester. Parker takes this corner. And headed over by Neil Cox, who's graduated to England under-21 status. Played in Turkey last month as a midfield man. Well, coming up tomorrow night, Ipswich and Norwich, the East Anglian derby. Plenty of passion there at Portman Road, live on Sky Sports. From the Autoglass, Stockport and Wigan, live on Tuesday.
Keep going!
Richardson, that's straightforward for Coton. So much of this match, you sense, being played by Villa in the mind. To remove the context in terms of the league position, I'm sure we'd see a different, more dynamic display, but of course you can't do that. Villa, after all, pleased to find themselves pressing at the top of the Premier League.
Well, dealing with pressure as well as both part and parcel of being the eventual league champions, Martin. If you can't deal with the pressure when it matters, then you won't win titles.
Fielding there. And, Holden and Manchester City have to retreat. Houghton. Just can't get a grip in an area that's been so strong for them for so long this season. That's midfield. Phelan. Simpson. A chance against Houghton and sending Phelan in behind Cox here. Can Quinn reach it? He does! That's authentic Manchester City, authentic Niall Quinn. And Aston Villa are a goal behind at home. Ron Atkinson has to take it on the chin.
Well, this is a goal of quality from start to finish. Fitzroy Simpson's lovely ball. Feeling space, but it's the quality of his cross. Inch perfect. And now Quinn doesn't miss those. It's the quality of the ball in that makes the job very easy for Niall Quinn.
And Quinn out from the hospital bed into a really prominent place in the Premier League, and Manchester City have silenced the crowd here, and Quinn will feel at the moment it's well worth playing through the pain. Goals haven't been too easy for him over the season, but that was a cross from Terry Phelan at the type that perhaps City haven't got to him often enough. Daley, curl across, but the whistle is gone.
Well, they just need to take a minute or two to compose themselves now, Aston Villa. I mean, that's a real blow to them. And this is what we said beforehand, with Ray Houghton, the number 7, who likes to tuck in on this right-hand side. It did leave the space, and it does leave the space for Terry Phelan. He's got probably as much pace as anyone in the Premier League. Really did trouble Cox. You see the number 4, and Neil Cox in the picture. He was really troubled by Phelan's pace there and could do nothing about it.
Well, Fitzroy Simpson took a chance against Ray Houghton. He could have lost the ball, but he got the better of him. 1 against 1, took him out of the game and just stuck it in there for Phelan.
And not many can catch him, but we talk about it all the time, Mark, and the difficult part of that move is the cross. That's the skill for me. Niall Quinn will tell you, if he gets crosses like that, he'll find it hard to miss.
What sort of cross will Steve Staunton supply here after the treatment of Ray Ranson? Cox competing for it. Well, when there was talk at Old Trafford yesterday of whether Manchester City would want to win this one, Alex Ferguson said, I've no doubts about Peter Reid, and he will prepare his players properly. Having a bit of a slip and a slide there. The turf just creased a little bit by drizzle today. Saunders coming back, not seeking to gain an advantage, but the linesman really had to wave the flag there, as Dalian Atkinson was wondering whether he'd be allowed to chase on in behind City. 8 minutes left in the first half, and an air of increasing anxiety around Ron Atkinson and Aston Villa. And they are chameleons, really, Manchester City. You never quite know how you're going to see them. The club traditionally mercurial, but they're 10th in the table if you look in your morning papers. If they were to hold on and win here, apart from the ramifications involving Villa, City would go up 5 places to 5th. It's plenty to play for in itself.
One thing in all recent weeks, Mark, I've been surprised about is that man there. I don't know what his level of fitness is at the moment, but I think when you go into games, particularly against Coventry last weekend and today again, and you're looking for something, if it's not going your way, to change it, then you put on somebody like Big Cyril, who really is like now when an aerial threat, and you can then, if your pass is not flowing, you can then opt in, you throw one or two crosses in there and have somebody like Big Cyril charging in and maybe getting a few drops. And I don't think Villa possess that at the moment with Saunders and Atkinson, and things aren't going well for them.
Villa haven't lost at home in the Premier League since November when Norwich came here and won 3-2. And there was one relevance about that, in that Sean Teal was missing from the Villa defence that afternoon. Saunders, Houghton. Now Aston Villa do have to stand up and be counted. Need to be some strong-minded players here to express themselves against a team that are really working hard to spoil any celebrations of victory. And against a crowd that's increasingly edgy.
That was unlucky. That was probably the best passing movement of the game. Must have strung 10-12 passes together there and just didn't connect with Garry Parker's through run. But that's a positive sign.
Simpson. Phelan. The providers for Quinn's goal. Wants his clearance more height and length. Wide. For Phelan. And no off-the-cuff move to bring Manchester City the goal. A strategy that was thought out to get Terry Phelan in by Peter Reid in his planning for today's game. Difficult though it was, not knowing who would be fit for him. Atkinson trying to help redress the balance here. It was such a lift for Villa if they could level it before half-time. Confusion there.
Felt a little bit for Dalian Atkinson. It's hard enough running away from Keith Curl, but when he's backed by Terry Phelan, really move.
Here's Flitcroft. Well, Quinn could have let it run anyway. Whether he was pushed is academic now. Sure, Simpson was clear behind him. McGrath. Houghton, who learnt so much with Liverpool about dealing with these high-pressure situations. Saunders. Can he take it beyond Vonk? All he gets is a corner. But that might be a road to recovery for Aston Villa.
I think that's the connection they would be looking for. They'd be looking for either Saunders or Atkinson to get on Michael Vonk in the one-against-one. They would fancy their chances pace-wise, but in that occasion, Vonk does very well indeed.
McGrath going more towards the middle of the goal this time. Next drop top to the top of the net. It's a corner we've seen Aston Villa use, not just in this game, but remember Dean Saunders scoring down at Bath against Bristol Rovers in the Cup beyond the far post. That was the station that he'd taken up then. Well, the strike force that Ron Atkinson has said he's going to stay with whatever happens over the remaining games. In the firing blank so far, will be left to Daley. Now Phelan. Quick. Simpson saw possibilities by switching the play.
Saw a glory crossfield pass there, but if he had just kept his head a little bit, they had a 2-against-1 situation developing down here. The Terry Phelan arriving on the scene. But as we approach half-time, if it stays like this, I just wonder if Ron Atkinson will send the team out again in this same formation. I feel sure he'll change something there at half-time. Tony Daley hasn't had the impact that I think the manager would have expected from him. And with Dwight York on the bench, that may be an area he looks to change, and he may change him tactically. but I don't think he'll send the team out certainly in the same way, without a flea in its ear at half-time.
York was the leading scorer last season, and Dalian Atkinson was injured for so long, and of course Dean Saunders was working out of Anfield. But Manchester United will argue that they have made their own luck recently. Villa feel that they're due a little break, something to fall their way. United with an extraordinary comeback against Sheffield Wednesday. That shot on Monday from Coventry's Roy Wegerle that hit the inside of the post and stayed out. And then 2 goals rather gifted to them yesterday by Chelsea.
But they've been in these situations. There've been a goal down at home, Manchester United, over the last couple of months, and have shown enough strength and character to reverse that situation, and that's exactly what's required from the Aston Villa players today. They've got to show that strength, they've got to show that belief that they can reverse a 1-0 at home at half-time and turn it into a victory.
Parker. Outside. And the closing seconds of the first half have been played out here in near silence. That's the agony that the Aston Villa supporters are going through, but they, from their point of view, should get their minds clear of the need to worry. And it's a very tentative shout to come on Villa, isn't it? Hardly say that's body and soul behind the team. That's what they need. They need help from every quarter. Stoppage time before the half-time break. We'll get the thoughts of Sean Teal and Peter Withe. Will be worried from the Aston Villa viewpoint, very worried indeed, because a goal here from a player who was only pass fit this morning. Ron Atkinson makes tracks down the touchline to have his say to his team, who haven't really performed as Villa would have liked. Manchester City are doing their bit. They're a goal up here at Villa Park.
Welcome back. Coming up tomorrow night, Ipswich against Norwich, live 7 o'clock kickoff on the Monday Night Football, and Tuesday night, Autoglass Trophy Northern Area final second leg, Stockport-Wigan. Wigan lead 2-1 from the first leg. 1-0 here to Manchester City. Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. 45 minutes for Aston Villa to show that they're not quitting on the championship chase. Their problems very succinctly put into perspective by Peter Withe and Sean Teal. Dalian Atkinson perhaps starting the second half like a man who might have had a flea or two in his ear from the manager.
There's no doubt in my mind that Dalian has Ron's got a great admiration for, but feels he doesn't produce his best all the time, and he'd have given him a flea in his ear.
Saunders. Atkinson trying to make his own luck. Little touch from Quinn, the scorer of the game's only goal. Houghton. I'm sure Manchester City have come back out here expecting Villa to really try and pile on the pressure in the opening minutes.
I don't think he would have needed a crystal ball to have known that. I think Peter Reid would have been able to say to his players, listen, Ron Atkinson will have certainly had a go at most of them in the first half and get them fired up.
Vonk. Now Quinn. Here's Houghton. Trying to make it happen for Aston Villa. Daley loitering on the left. It's deflected, and Dean Saunders. Well, when you want a goal, a chance right on the goal line. There's a dream come true in his 12th match since his last goal at the 11th hour in the championship chase. Dean Saunders starts scoring again.
And what a part the deflection plays. He looks to nick it and it gets a deflection off Ranson. No matter how bad your goal stat is at the moment, you're not going to miss these. In fact, it's almost gone in here. We can see as it just takes a deflection. It could even have been going into this far corner on its own, but no, it needed that vital touch from Saunders. What a start for Aston Villa.
They have lit the gas. Staunton. Well, it's been a long time coming, number 19. Ranson is offside. A goal that may well have been cheered all round the ground.
And if you're suffering, Martin, you couldn't have asked for an easier chance than that, can you? And look at the delight. I suppose most of it's relief that's on his face.
Well, it had to happen sometime, but for Villa it was paramount that it happened sooner rather than later. 1-1. Garry Parker, Villa alive. And offside against Houghton.
But Kat, I think it's noticeable to everybody. It's certainly noticeable to you and I sitting here at the game, but I'm sure to even the people at home, the difference in tempo that's suddenly around here, and not just after the goal, before the goal. They started the second half, the pace was up, the tempo of the game was up from Aston Villa, and they've had the reward. We talk about making luck, their own luck. They got that little bit of luck with that crucial deflection off Ray Ranson's head that took the ball into Saunders' path to the goal.
And on this occasion, it's the team and the goal scorer who've lifted the crowd. Quinn. Holden hasn't looked altogether happy in this unfamiliar role. Paul McGrath, who's been a mountain at the back for Aston Villa, recognised throughout the game, particularly by the PFA award. White for Quinn, getting a shot inside, stepping McGrath rather easily then. Bock, Ranson, Daley, typifying this new commitment from Aston Villa. Oh, that must have been close.
I think it's Dean Saunders who's offside.
More in the centre, yes.
Yeah. I think Atkinson had timed his run to perfection here. If you watch it build up, just take a look. It's just at the top of the screen. Dean Saunders is the one who's given offside.
Frustrating for Dalian Atkinson, who hasn't imposed himself on the game as yet, but is capable of doing it in a twinkling. And now that Saunders has got going again, maybe it will be Atkinson's turn. His famine has lasted now into a 7th game. And of course, the first part of that run without goals in matches when he was playing with the injury and not completing the course.
Well, even there, Mark, he's chased a hopeless cause, basically, Dalian Atkinson, and that suggests to me that his manager's had one or two words to him. Because he did it, he forced Michael Vonk into a mistake.
Reid breaks it up for City. McGrath with half an eye on David White. And Saunders getting on this one. Well, Coton, I think, probably could have collected it in his hands inside the area, but he wasn't going to take any chances. That was Parker picking out Houghton through the centre. Ray Houghton just couldn't get the ball on in behind him and go on towards goal. Flitcroft. McGrath. On Good Friday, Manchester City led at half-time at Sheffield United and couldn't hold on. A different type of pressure put on them in the second half at Bramall Lane. But it's pressure nonetheless. Aston Villa recognising the consequence of failure here and responding to the need to increase their tempo, to improve their level of play in most quarters of their game. Richardson. Almost fell for Daley. Villa collectively got sucked into the centre. Here's Holden. Over McGrath, is it? Not quite. David White hoped it would drop behind the Villa number 5, and there's a foul by Flitcroft on Barrett.
I think what you'll find from Villa as well is that Neil Cox, now he's on the side that his managers are, will be pushing forward into that gap we talked about on that right-hand side.
Oh, and Barrett, just a slight lack of understanding between two players who don't operate often as a pairing.
Good spot from the referee, that. Just a little tug from Dalian Atkinson on Keith Curl.
So well with Tony Coton playing when required in the first half, not required that often in truth. He would have begun to look a more formidable barrier as the match wore on. But they've got the ball past him. Fortunately, with the aid of that deflection to allow Saunders to come in to score. Daley. Here's Cox. Keith Curl leading a chorus of appreciation in the direction of the linesman. Dave Colwell on this near side.
Defenders are good at that. They're always very good to turn around, and when they see that, they push up, they get the offside decision to compliment the linesman. That's dodgy. It's
well, they
dicey.
might get the next decision then.
I think Aston Villa will be quite happy to see Manchester City continue to do that, take a chance in that offside.
Holden. Not sure where to go. Reed. What pass. Training ground stuff, that. Flitcroft. White. Quinn force away past McGrath. Flitcroft. Manchester City just trying to get their own coolness back. Try and remember what they were doing well in the first 45 minutes. Flag up again. And if you're right, Andy, more ammunition perhaps for Aston Villa at a later stage in the game. Flitcroft. Ransom. White. Staunton stepping in. Houghton. And Saunders watched what happened from a prone position because he lost his balance trying to get back to the halfway line to stay onside, hoping that there was another Villa player galloping down the left on his feet and in a legitimate position. Didn't quite happen. Reed. And again. Trying to run Parker and doing that. Where he was running wasn't quite to Manchester City's benefit. Cribb with a good touch as the ball dropped. Curls head to the left. No chance for Terry Phelan to get that far forward in that instance, although he was the closest Manchester City player to where the ball dropped. Phelan, who set up Quinn's header, give City the lead. Bosnich was very sure of what he was doing then as White lunged. Curl. Breaks for Daley. He isn't known for his goal scoring, but when you look back down the records, he's done some damage to Manchester City in the past. A great goal in his fixture here last season.
Scored a fantastic volley here last season, you're right. But the problems arise from there is that how often we talk about when defenders let the ball bounce from goal kicks. The two centre-backs let it bounce and were immediately in trouble and couldn't clear it.
Keeping the rallying cries going and leading by example as well. But as the game has gone on, Aston Villa have got better. I think they certainly needed to improve. Parker, well, if he'd been in a more confident vein of form, perhaps he'd have taken the chance and flung himself feet first as the ball dropped. Never going to be easy. I
think it was a bit unlucky. I think that had he been able to take it on the volley, it would have been much better. If you can just see, he's always just too far away from him.
Simpson. Oldham cropping up this time on the left. Oh, that could have come for Quinn or White.
I thought one of them got the header on it, Mark.
Fonk. Well, Rick Holden caught Aston Villa out then, having played totally on the right-hand side. He moved to the left, and it was an opportunity, one sense for City here.
You see how comfortable it looks off that side. You see Earl Barrett just gets the faintest touch on it, and that's the only thing that took it away from Niall Quinn. What a difference in Holden, though, as he got himself in that inside left position. It was totally natural for him just to get half a yard on Paul McGrath and produce a quality cross.
Well, it might also help Villa here that City have had to patch up a number of players to get them out for this match, particularly their two main strikers. And there's not quite the zest in the forward running that there was earlier in the proceedings. Half an hour to go. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 1. Dean Saunders equalising Niall Quinn's first half header. Atkinson. That's Parker, who scored against City at Main Road.
Well, it looks close, this one, but I think you'll find that when he's hit that, Tony Coton makes a spectacular dive towards it, but he hits it with the outside of his left foot, and from the moment it leaves that, you can see it's always drifting wide of the goal.
Well, there's no shortage of incentive for Aston Villa here. One thing they will have to concede to Manchester United, I think, is the goal difference. I don't really believe they can make too many inroads into United's advantage in that respect. But a win here would keep them just the 1 point behind the league leaders, with 3 games to go for each of the top 2. Houghton. The more forceful of the 2 number 4s was the older man. Parker. Free kick to Villa. The linesman was wondering whether there was an offside there, but in fact hadn't raised the flag. It wouldn't have mattered in any case. It's the earlier infringement. And that has gone Villa's way. Houghton and Parker leave it. Staunton tries for goal and might have found it, but for the flailing arm of Tony Coton.
Well, that was a better strike from Steve Staunton. Much crisper, in an area where he's likely to get a goal. But Tony Coton in the end deals with it quite comfortably.
Villa's corner. And Coton's catch. The Birmingham City fan is providing a big barrier to Aston Villa here in the West Midlands.
Good taste on that and good kill on the ball. And that one did test the goalkeeper.
Little push by Quinn, who looks most aggrieved that the decision's been given against him. One thing we haven't mentioned is that Manchester City a little more relaxed, not relaxed there as Saunders made up the ground to block from Coton, but generally more relaxed, the Manchester City club, after the verdict was handed out by that FA Commission on Friday. The suspended sentence hanging over the heads of the City fans. A verdict which showed sympathy for their past record of good behaviour, but which properly punishes any repetition. Curl. Well, there was something to aim at on the right for Manchester City. David White had been lost by Steve Staunton. Atkinson. Daley. City suddenly decisive where they'd been tentative. McGrath. Makes it all look so ridiculously easy.
And that was close. That was close. Always field players, though, that have the pace of Dalian Atkinson, shouldn't be getting themselves offside as often as they do. They can give themselves now with the new rule that little half a yard. With all that space to run into, he's just getting ahead of himself slightly.
Goal kick. I mentioned the foreign goalkeepers. Mark Bosnich from Australia, of course. Eric Torsvet, Hans Sagers, Jan Stejskal, Dmitry Karin, who's with Chelsea now, Peter Schmeichel, Jason Kearton, the other Australian, who's with Everton, Craig Forrest of Ipswich, and Bruce Grobbelaar. Who says that England produces the best goalkeepers in the world now? Maybe Chris Woods does. And Tony Coton has staked a claim for the home-based custodians. Houghton. Here's Holden. Reed making it go City's way. Ranson. There's an angle here for Holden, but Earl Barrett saw that coming. Richardson. The header from Atkinson and from Daley. The crowd wanted Atkinson to spot Saunders. He looked back where the ball had come from. He was quite entitled to do that. Daley was in a reasonably promising position, although Saunders through the centre, had he been spotted, would have been the more deadly ball.
I think he's lucky to get away with this, Keith Kelly. He turns away and he doesn't get rid of Daley and he just kind of grabs round. He's happy to take the free kick, you can be sure of that.
Ending up looking like old pals from the England squad that they were in together in Sweden. Saunders trying to get in behind Freeland, which takes some doing. He's accomplished it. Needs some support now. Goes for the cross. Oh, a handball! Keith Curl. It's a certain penalty. And what will Manchester United be saying about that?
Well, it's inexplicable. It really is. I mean, it doesn't look any danger at all here as Curl goes up. But you see quite clearly the right hand goes up, knocks it away from Dalian Atkinson's head, and that must have been one of the simplest decisions the referees had to make.
Villa have missed their last two penalties, which is why the job has gone to Garry Parker. Oh, and it got under. Coton, who beats the ground with frustration as Parker pumps the air into light, and Aston Villa are in front by 2-1 in an amazing set of circumstances here.
Well, Ron Atkinson said he wanted his team to get some luck, and they've certainly had it today. The first goal, a little deflection helped him. Keith Curl inexplicably sticking a hand up there, and Tony Coton comes oh so close to stopping the penalty, but all that doesn't matter. Villa are ahead.
That's the three-quarter mark of the match. It's been a long, long time coming for Aston Villa, but they've got their noses in front. And will the Manchester United fans let Keith Curl back in the city of Manchester tonight?
Well, it's not finished yet.
Ransom trying to let it run. Daley trying to earn a corner. But Curl was backpedaling. Dalian Atkinson, in truth, had made a tremendous leap behind him. Whether Curl was aware of that and panicking because of that, a panic reaction it certainly looked. You just don't jump with your hand that high. Certainly in your own penalty area.
You can never hope to get away with anything like that.
And here's Parker. Well, we talked about Dean Saunders ending a run without a goal. Parker not in the side necessarily to score, but it's his first goal for some 3 months. Courtesy of the handball by Keith Curl. An aberration that will take a bit of explaining away.
Well, look at that again as you watch it. Dalian Atkinson pulls in behind him, and he goes up early. He's up above him, but look, the hand's up almost immediately from Keith Curl. And I don't care how much you panic as a centre-half, you can't do that and hope to get away with it.
Phelan first to a ball that wobbled dangerously in the deep. It was like a volleyball player going for a winning smash down over the net. But it could mean losing here for Manchester City. Villa came out fearing defeat, a goal down at the start of the second half, and now they're sensing victory. Richardson. McGrath. Suddenly every Villa player wants the ball. It wasn't like that in the first half. And Vonk could only concede another corner. By the by, the 9th goal of the season for Garry Parker is his personal best. In terms of league goals, Parker now concentrating on the corner. Coton being impeded.
What a wicked corner to deal with for the goalkeeper.
We're inside the final 20 minutes. And we're at the stage of the season where the finishing line is in sight, but we're really, now that Villa are moving on towards what they hope will be another win, we're still not much nearer knowing who's going to press the tape first. Two terrific teams, Manchester United and Aston Villa, still head-to-head.
But it's been a great response from him. We mentioned before half-time whistle that the Old Trafford side had found himself one down at home and managed to reverse things. And Villa, that man have learned a lot from his side today. He's shown great character. People ask when do managers earn their money. Well, Ron Atkinson earned it at half-time because he was a man that certainly turned down the attitude of the players and sent them out firing on all cylinders.
One way you could say Alec Ferguson earned his money was his response when Manchester United were beaten here by Aston Villa in November. He took the chance in the transfer market with Eric Cantona. It was really Villa who'd beaten United twice, of course, in quick succession in the League Cup as well, who provoked that signing. Will Cantona be the trump card? The understanding down the City right for all the effort put into the game by Rick Holden, who spends his time in the week not just preparing for matches but studying on a degree in sports physiology. Wants to stay in the game on the medical side. That's a mistake by Holden, of all people to give it to Saunders. City committing suicide at the moment. That's a corner off curl. Oh, it should be a corner. Well, if the referee didn't see it, surely the linesman must have done.
I think probably you and I had the best view of that incident in the whole ground at the angle we're at. But what a mistake from Rick Holden. Just total lack of concentration. Passes it without looking, but they're fortunate. City in there, it's Keith Curl who's got pace to get back. But we watch here, the shot quite clearly comes off Keith Curl's foot. But both officials, well, let's just give them the benefit that they were at bad angles to see that.
From Quinn. Phelan, that's another fine link up with Fitzroy Simpson. Quinn going in again, White coming in behind him. Quinn was beaten by the height of the ball originally, White by the height of the bounce. Not steered out very effectively by Staunton. Ranson.
Well, that was just a little reminder if Villa needed one. But Manchester City intend to have a say in this game even yet.
Curl. This is Gary Flitcroft chasing on. This is Quinn going in. Unfortunately for Villa, McGrath was right alongside him and just did enough to put off his fellow international. Here's David Brightwell, the younger of the two brothers on the books of Manchester City, who's a centre-back. And it's Rick Holden who's going to be taken off. Will Brightwell go and play at the back, and are they going to send Keith Curl forward after giving away the penalty? And there's a couple of reasons for pushing him on. Yes, that's the move by Manchester City. Brightwell in the centre of defence with Vonk. Curl alongside Quinn, and David White has gone to his role on the right-hand side of City's attack.
I'll tell you what, Mark, I think Villa will make an immediate response to that. I've got a funny feeling they'll bring on Brian Small as soon as they can here. With David White on the right against Steve Staunton. I know they were concerned about that pair-up before the game started. And if there are signs that White might be getting something out of Steve Staunton, you can bet your life that Small will be on pretty quick.
Ranson offside. I think we can tell that you used to be assistant manager of Aston Villa, Andy. He's going to go and play at left back, of course, against David White. It's a question. And Garry Parker, who's played his part with the penalty. by his goal, Villa lead. And Brian Small, I must tell you, I saw the under-21 game in Turkey recently, and he played so well for England. He was arguably England's man of the match. And now he has a specific job to do against David White.
I thought he'd make the substitution, but unless Garry Parker's feeling the pace of the game a little bit, I'm a bit surprised that Tony Daley isn't the one to be taken off. I thought he would have just moved Steve Staunton one up, taking Tony Daley off, and then he would have had the comfort of knowing that Staunton was there to help Small.
Hard for Brightwell here, having just come on against Dalian Atkinson. Daley takes it on, but Brightwell recovers well. Houghton, Staunton for Houghton, hanging it up towards the far post. Fuller have got no one attacking the ball there. But Staunton's gone into midfield for Villa. Quinn. "12 minutes left. Here's Reid. Is there going to be a sting in the tail here? Manchester City, Keith Curle, who did start his career, if memory serves me right, as a wide player up front. He's certainly got the speed to justify a place in attack if they can serve him with the right type of pass in behind McGrath and Barrett. No specific injury, we learn, for Garry Parker, just a change tactically made by Ron Atkinson. Corner for City, only their second. Flitcroft, who scored from a corner on Monday against Liverpool. Reid, trying to bend it with the outside of the right foot, went the wrong way, I think. Came off the head of McGrath. Bosnich beating Curl to it. Curl trying to make up for his mistake, and it has been a credit to him and to Manchester City. There's no doubt that that back injury hasn't fully cleared up. Flag has stayed down, but Flitcroft heads on. Curl in the chase here with Barrett. Well, now that would have been interesting if it hadn't been a foul.
He just seems to slow up your Earl Barrett. I think you can see there, he just catches Earl Barrett's right heel there, Keith Curle. It certainly showed a turn of pace. It would trouble defenders.
Brightwell. Ian Brightwell, incidentally, has been out with a serious injury since virtually the turn of the year. Steve McMahon close to full fitness again. He's going off with City to Japan next week. A match being played out there to raise a few funds for Peter Swales and company in the break caused by the internationals. Steve McMahon was telling me he hopes to play a half in Japan. Quite a long way to go to get a comeback match in. I'm trying to keep you in touch with the messages from Ron Atkinson. He'll settle for a win here and not be too concerned about the margin. It's not been an easy afternoon for Aston Villa. Saunders sets his sights, and it's been a terrific contest between him and Coton. Both have had their moments. Barrett. We're into the final 10 minutes. And the Manchester United supporters up and down the land aching, unusually, for Manchester City to score.
Well, as you say, if it stays like this, I don't think Keith Curle will be flavour of the month in the red part of Manchester.
Quinn. Curl going in. And there's Small, who is a natural defensive player.
Well, that was very coolly played by Brian Small. That's almost his first touch of the ball, I think, and he had to show a cool head there.
He's not very aptly named. Broad-shouldered, muscular man. Phelan. Here's Staunton. Oh, Ranson almost running it into trouble there. And there's that handball by Staunton not given by the referee. Coton was complaining. Staunton's cross, and it's handball now by the goalkeeper.
Oh, he had a chance, Steve Staunton there. I think it was handball from him, but not an intentional one, but he had a great chance to put Kevin Richardson free in the box.
It's a lovely ball wide by Flitcroft. Ray Ranson, who scored his only Manchester City goal against Aston Villa. That was 12 and a half years ago. Flitcroft, the more likely candidate to get on the target here.
That was a nice build-up from Manchester City. Keith Curl showing he can play with his back to goal as well. Just holds it up. And Garry Flitcroft, maybe a little bit of tired legs here. Just can't keep his shot down.
Saunders. And a race here with Bonk. It's well played by the Dutchman. Six minutes to go. Daley. Well, he got past Ranson and then showed too much of it to Bonk. It's a strong finish by Aston Villa here after a very tentative start. Staunton. Cox coming in and making the ball his. Neil Cox! Well, really typifying the way the stock of Aston Villa has risen here as the match has worn on.
Yeah, had a chance at Highbury. The same sort of area when he broke through late on and didn't hit the target. And again, this is a more difficult chance, but couldn't squeeze it into that near post. But this is the kind of finish he would have wanted.
Sky Sports squad off to Portman Road tomorrow. Live Premier League action for you. Ipswich against Norwich, a derby of real local rivalry. And Stockport against Wigan for a place at Wembley in the Autoglass Trophy. Well, Saunders surely can't expect to run past Terry Phelan, but he did enough. Make him play it, make him put it out, would have been the message in close quarters there. And Atkinson not wasting any time, getting the ball back to his team and saying, just keep it going, you're dictating the pace now. I think Manchester City would go away from here with proper praise ringing in their ears for the way they've approached it, but for the way the winning goal, if it's going to be the winning goal, came about. It may not be the winner. This is Fitzroy Simpson, and it was touched away by Bosnich.
What a save.
It was a driving run of real danger to Aston Villa. Bosnich takes it all in his stride.
He does everything right in going across the goalkeeper. But how valuable a touch will that prove to be?
Simpson, who played a part in the setting up of the one goal City have. Oh, and Bonk! I'm not sure it was going in. It was Daley who was guarding the post. Here's Reid. Manchester City coming again. And they're appealing for handball now against Richardson. Certainly not as clear-cut if it was handball at all as the Curl episode. Flitcroft. Ranson. Staunton can't get it away. In from Flitcroft. Bosnich comes without batting an eyelid. And Aston Villa responding on a couple of occasions in these closing stages to an example set by their goalkeeper. Well, David Brightwell was up a moment or two ago, and I think it was he who knocked the ball across to Michel Vonk, and it looked as though there was plenty to aim at. Let's look back.
Here we can have a look at the corner. They just seem to go to sleep. and they all follow the ball out, but Michael Volk just nicks in behind Dalian Atkinson there. You can see it's not going in, but had anyone else been following in that little touch from Volk, then they couldn't possibly have missed.
I don't think there was quite as much to aim at as maybe I first thought. On the stretch, getting the ball back into the percentage area.
Well, I don't think anyone can question the commitment of the way that Manchester City have gone about this game, Martin. Even now, 2 or 3 minutes ago, when you might have thought they would just be, oh, well, that's it, we've lost the game. They're driving forward, trying to get an equaliser.
Richardson. Small for Daley. Houghton. Came off Bonk. Daley back to Small. Takes on Ranson. Villa get a throw. It also takes up a few more seconds. Well, Manchester United came from behind against Sheffield Wednesday. They also did it earlier this year against Sheffield United and against Southampton. Their battling quality is well documented. Villa faced a battle here, and it's a battle they're very close to winning. White. Staunton. Houghton is onside, and it's 3-1. Aston Villa finishing here on a very big high indeed. Ron Atkinson knows that all the anxieties in this match, and they've been considerable, are behind him.
Oh, it's a lovely ball through from Staunton. Measures it outside of his left foot. They've got caught. You always sense that sometime they'll get caught square. And if there's one man you would want in that situation with a cool head, believe me, it would be Ray Houghton. He has a quick look. He knows he's onside. Look at that for a calm little half volley. Beautiful finish.
When the anxiety was considerable, Aston Villa have sorted it out in the second half at Villa Park. Houghton. Well, there might be more to come here. Atkinson, if he'd had more matches, if he'd had perhaps a more successful time in this match, who knows what might have happened, but he went for the first time. A brilliant ball from Houghton.
Again, outside of the foot, and he doesn't get the kindness of bounces there. It's a difficult chance, but I've seen Dalian Atkinson smash him in from there. But they won't be too worried about that. At this stage of their campaign, the victory is the most important thing, and it's certainly now they've got that.
Simpson. Well, that was a type of deflected cross that was so instrumental in the first goal for Aston Villa. Houghton, the scorer of their latest. And City have a corner deep, deep into stoppage time. Saunders. Villa's throw. Paul McGrath, who finished a runner-up with Aston Villa in 1990 and with Manchester United in 1988. And wants to go one better this time as Aston Villa continue the chase. And they have cut the gap back to 1 point again. A real revival here after Niall Quinn had given Manchester City the lead. But then Dean Saunders got his act together again early in the second half to really stimulate the recovery. Ray Houghton also scored late in the half, but the turning point, the handball by Keith Curle, which gave Villa the penalty, and Garry Parker gave Villa the lead from the spot. the first Premier League season, giving all football lovers a captivating conclusion. Villa had to win today.